Hello, everybody. I'm MQMZ, and I am back again for the notes of the Art of Leadership book, co-sponsored and co-written by my friend and scholar, Dr. Jakab Ma'at Kilimanjaro. And I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. We'll be talking about corrupted leadership. And what I'm going to focus in on today is corrupted European leadership. I want to talk about chapter 9, and if you got the book, page 89, and I'm going to read the first two paragraphs, chapter being corrupted leadership, what do we mean? And I'm going to put screenshot up not only for the beginning of the chapter, the first two paragraphs, but I'm also going to go through my liner notes, which I'm going to put on the screen as well, so you can follow me as I go through these. And mind you, history is a big thing. It's huge. But I'm just going to take certain points of history that highlights the genesis of corrupted European leadership, and then up to where we're at right now. And then I'll take it from there and give you my final thoughts. So here we go. Notes from the Art of Leadership, 8/26/24. Corrupted leadership, what do we mean? Chapter 9, page 89. This section should not be viewed the same as false, fraudulent leadership as described previously. And the chapter before, I talked about fraudulent, false leadership. There are distinct differences and critical reasons why this corrupted leadership must be avoided at all costs. It is well known that the issues facing us today is from European corrupted leadership. It has always been a systemic issue with them and their trek of terror to rule the world. There are three inferences that refer to them as the three avenues of distortion. Their study of ancient civilized class societies from 9000 BC to 500 AD was unique in that generations of European scholars that followed the script passionately, they knew the assignment. So they followed the script like they were supposed to. So let's take a look at the history of the European. Again, these are just some things I highlighted in my studies. And we as Africans, we should be viewing ourselves as very, very, very lucky. And yes, I did say lucky. Okay, let's start with the Dark Ages. Decline of culture and science. Now, there'll be people thinking and will say that there may not have been much science and culture at the time of the Dark Ages, but there was. This was a time of chaos through the 5th to the 10th centuries. No leadership per se, especially after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, which occurred in 476 AD. The Byzantines, or the Holy Roman Empire, went and set up in the east after the Western Roman Empire fell. Along after that came the Crusades. The one that we remember the most, the ones that hit us the most and impacted us the most was Crusade number 1, and that was to primarily drive out the Islamized Arabs and Moors from the areas of Western Europe, which included northern Spain, Iberia, France, Gaul, Italy, Turkey, Anatolia, and the Holy Lands of the Mediterranean. So the Roman Catholic Church at this time became prominent. Pope Urban II, along with the armies of Raymond St. Gilles, Godfrey of Bouillon, Hugh of Vermandois, Bohemond of Otranto, Robert of Flanders, and the People's Crusade followed Peter the Hermit. Of course, the land and the riches that they regained was deemed official by the Pope, and the official start of feudalism was on its way, as long as they proclaimed their allegiance and paid their tithes to the Roman Catholic Church. Of course, there were 7 more crusades for a total of 8, and that entire era lasted from 1096 to 1291. Feudalism will be the next stage of corrupted European leadership. occurred from the 9th to the 15th centuries. The leaders, who you would call leaders at the time, was kings, lords, and nobles. The land was called fiefs, and that's why you hear the word fiefdoms a lot when you talk about ancient European history. Barbarism was also prevalent at that time, during the time of feudalism. Basically occurred between the 9th and the 11th centuries, primarily by the Vikings. Their leaders were kings, magnates, sometimes called jarls, carls, and thralls. Some order, based on the fact that they had kings and lords and magnates and everything else, some order existed at that time. All these things coexisted. Once the Norsemen, the kings, the Vikings, became too powerful and threatened to control the entire area of Western Europe, because they got to the point where they almost controlled the entire continent, the Catholic Church stepped in again. Along with converted Vikings and a huge European army, Archbishop Rimbert pushed out the remaining larger Norse contingents in 884 AD. Now take note that the Roman Catholic Church did not go into Iberia, Spain. The Islamized Moors were too strong at that time. They would have to wait another 600 years before they could be strong enough in Western Europe and for the Islamized Moors established culture to collapse in order to do so. 1492, the expulsion of the Moors, Islamized Moors, out of Iberia, Spain, and Portugal. Christian Spanish forces, financed finally by the Roman Catholic Church, was led by Ferdinand II, Isabella I. So, where are we now? Look around, see your circumstances. Expansionism, colonization, colonialism, colorism due to racial superiority, and the all-important mandate from their Christian God. Naval and maritime science has opened up the world to the European. All the lands on earth now belong to the European. They can now claim it. They can now claim it if they can access it. Fast forward to World War I, World War II, the Cold War, world domination, of course, renewal of the great empires. The examples of this would be Germany, Hitler, Italy, Mussolini, Japan, Emperor Hirohito. The last vestiges of feudalism, monarchy, after World War II, many monarchs were deposed in the 20th century around the world. And then we get to the point where we have the Cold War and the auspices and the specter of nuclear war. So I'm going to now close up with a final thought about the Cold War. In 1967, there was an incident. We know about the Middle East being a hot spot of activity at the time when Israel established their nation, illegally, of course, the Jewish state. During this time, right before they got into the 6-day war with Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, they didn't really think that they could actually defeat those three countries. I mean, they didn't want to go into an all-out war with those three countries, although they eventually did do that with the 6-day war. But what they wanted to do, this is when Mossad, the Jewish secret police, came up with this ploy, this plot, that if they can blow up the USS Liberty, and they call this Operation Cyanide, if they could blow up a United States research vessel in the Gulf there, right outside of Egypt, and make it look like Egypt did it, they would pull in the United States. That way, the United States could fight their battles for them. It didn't work. They got caught. They were supposed to sink the ship. They didn't do it. It never happened. Israel had to do an apology, the whole works. Really what they wanted to do was get rid of Anwar Sadat. We do know that several years right after that, after they lost Egypt and Syria and Lebanon, after they lost the 6-day war to Israel, after a lot of death, which they didn't want to incur, Israel is who I'm talking about. They figured, okay, this guy Sadat's not going anywhere. So he was assassinated. It is well known that Mossad are the ones who follow through with the assassination of Anwar Sadat. There would have been a nuclear incident, but unfortunately, President Kennedy at the time knew that he had a hothead general that was in charge of the military forces in that region. So he immediately recalled that general, got him out of there because he had something to do with Israel going in and destroying his own ship. He had conspired with Israel to do that. So Kennedy recalled him, sent him up to Northern Europe. I don't know why he didn't fire him, just take him out, all the way. But I guess they had the choice of doing that, or they had their reasons for not taking this guy out of action. So we know that Gaza and Hamas and all of these things is nothing but a carryover of what has been going on in that region for so long. Corrupted leadership they only have one thing and one thing in common, and only one goal, and that is to have control. Total control. And if that means killing and destroying, they will do that. Look at Syria, it's destroyed. Look at Lebanon, it's no more. Look at Gaza now. They finally went in there and was able to take those people out and destroy the Palestinians. That's what Israel wanted to do all this time. They finally got the chance to do it. I would suggest that everybody who's actually looking at this video that I'm doing right now, take a look at this YouTube video. It's called How Zionism Conquered JFK in America. It's on YouTube. It goes through all of the timeline of everything, pretty much everything I talked about from 1967, or I would say the creation of the Israel state, how Mossad became, the power that it became, the Secret Service, how Golda Meir and Netanyahu and all these guys who played a role in Israeli politics, their role in 9/11 and all these kind of things. Take a look at that. Take a look at that video. Take a look at that video on YouTube. How Zionism Conquered JFK in America. And then you guys can make your own decision on that. But it's pretty obvious, and this is not a feel-good video at all. We know how ugly European politics can be. European leadership can be. We know how corrupted they can be. We know how ugly they can be. We know how we ended up where we're at right now. We cannot lay down and be satisfied with where we're at because we feel comfortable. This thing could turn on its head at any minute, any moment. When they decide they want to pull the lever and do the things that they need to do, what they normally do as they've done in their history, then they will do that. So I will let you guys go on that final note. Notes from the Art of Leadership. We'll talk about African corrupted leadership, and I'm hoping that I'll try to make it as palatable as I can. It's still going to be ugly. It's not going to feel good, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to wake you up. So again, I'm M. You guys take it easy. Abibifahodie. Take care.